Hello, this is Matt with normalmapping.com. Welcome to this weird thing. I wanted to kind of talk about video games a little. Man, let's turn this down. Full screen off. Yeah, that's all fine. I wanted to just do kind of a casual talk. I haven't actually played. Well, we'll talk about it. I just wanted to have a talk about where my head's at with stuff. Little how the sausage is made kind of game, maybe. Man, I don't remember any of the PC controls. This is Binding of Isaac Rebirth. If you don't know, it's came out the end of last year. It is a port slash remake. How did that? What triggered this? Is a port slash remake of the original game, Binding of Isaac, which came out probably 2011, 2010. Edmund McMillan and Florian, I don't remember Florian's last name, which was like a cool little flash experiment turned into this game that basically consumed my life 3 years ago for one entire summer. Because I was unemployed, and that's what you do when you're unemployed. So this is a game I played a lot of. I played a lot of the original on PC, and then when Rebirth came out, I played a ton on Vita, and have gotten pretty far in it. But I had not touched the PC version. I bought it because why not? Knowing someday I would absolutely record videos of me playing Binding of Isaac. How do I use? Nope, that's bomb. Okay. Knowing I would record Binding of Isaac, so here we are. I've not played this version, so it's going to be the most basic form of this game, which should probably be pretty straightforward for me, hopefully, which means I can talk. We're in kind of a weird space with abnormal mapping. This is mostly going to be about the podcast. I don't know what I'm going to title this video yet, like State of the Pod or State of the Map. I wish I could incorporate like legend as like the legend of a map into the title, but really that just sounds like I'm bragging about how good I am at Binding of Isaac, and while I'm decent, I'm not that good. But we're in this weird period where we recorded the Her Story piece episode, which went up last week. Was it only last week? Yeah, it was. We recorded that like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago now, a long time ago, and we have a piece going up next week that's kind of just, Jackson was on a panel, and we're going to include the panel audio in the podcast feed, and we did like a post-mortem about stuff that didn't get talked about in the panel that we wanted to cover. And it's kind of a short podcast, and that'll go up next week. But we're not recording about Paper Mario for another 3 weeks, and I'm really itchy to talk about video games. And I don't care about writing about video games ever at this point. That's not what I do. It's not my job. So I kind of want to just talk about where I'm at in terms of playing games and thinking about them. This would probably go in Vania Mania, but I'm not doing Vania Mania right now. So, you know, things get weird. I don't actually know how to access that space, probably. I would make it space if I was playing this game. So yeah, without Vania Mania, I don't really know what forum I have for this. So I'm just gonna do this, and maybe it'll be a recurring video series. Maybe this is a one-off. I don't know, but it's weird because Jackson still has his computer woes, which means he's only on his laptop, which is not like a great laptop anyway. But it basically precludes him from recording videos outright completely. If you want to support Jackson, you haven't already. He's got a GoFundMe. You can find the link on his Twitter. At least signal boost it. Like, please, just do that if you can. Because I really would like Morning Mario to happen at some point in the next, year. Because without Morning Mario, there's probably not going to be Vania Mania. Because they're meant to be sister series where I show them up by being really good at video games. And it's just not fun the other way. Like, I continue to do Castlevania, but the whole point was to trade off, and I don't know if that's going to happen without him. God, taking damage. So, with that all said, Jackson's not really doing that stuff, and right now he's off at university, and this is probably why I'm actually recording this, is because I haven't spoken with Jackson on Skype in days, and normally we talk at least once a day, and it's usually about games in some capacity. And so I'm left kind of to my own devices, and it makes things really complicated. Okay, add space. That's what I thought. I should use that on the boss. I didn't even think about it. And that's really dangerous for me because I get really antsy about this sort of stuff. I beat Paper Mario weeks ago, more behind the scenes sausage making. I'm going to turn down this audio even more. Oh goodness. I clicked away. Just a second. I will be right with you guys. My email popped up immediately as I did that, which was very unfortunate. So Jackson's going away to university, and he's been kind of the guy who's been the most, like, really gung-ho about the site. We went through, like, a tussle, not really a fight, but we had a crisis of conscience a couple months ago where we were basically doing 2 episodes a month, and I was quickly burning out on the idea of doing 2 episodes a month because I felt a lot of pressure to do them and not a lot of enjoyment in playing video games at all. And I don't, it's weird. So we decided to go back to 1 a month, even though we've continued to put out 2 a month ever since we made that decision months ago. But it actually did cure me of all my angst about the podcast. Like, there was a good couple weeks where I was very serious about quitting the podcast and shutting it all down. And that's not going to happen now, so don't worry about that. That's done and over. But what it did do is it left us with, like, not quite sure where we're going with this. Like, we're not a games website, quote-unquote, very serious about games. We never were that. But we're also, like, we do enough work on this where we feel like we'd like some recognition, but we don't really want to play the game of being part of Games Twitter, which seems to be the way people advertise their stuff. Like, we get way more views on our writing, Jackson especially, than we ever do people listening to the podcast, even though the podcast is way better. And so, like, our options were to get really abnormal doing normal mapping as, like, a thing we did, like, very serious, or to just say, screw it, oh good, and just enjoy what we're doing. And that's basically what we decided to do, which is why we cut down. Our decision on who third chair was kind of hinged on that, because there was talk of maybe pursuing someone who's more, like, in the game space, quote-unquote. But we don't really, that's not really necessary. Oh great, this is not what I need. Not when my tears are so slow. Pursuing someone in the game space to, like, be on the podcast with us full time, and it's not worth, like, naming names or anything. But instead we're like, well, no, actually the kind of podcast we're making is, like, a much more casual experience where it's about, like, engaging with games. Oh, Bob's brain is terrible. Outside of this tuned in, plugged in, everyone's got a Patreon and is writing crit and is up on the latest trends. Like, that's not what I wanted abnormal mapping to be, ultimately. I mean, we weren't sure if that's true, that was actually how we felt or not, but we're going with it, and it's worked so far. Always reserve the option of changing our mind, I guess. And part of this is compounded with, because of that change in approach, and with Jackson going back to university and his computer woes, it's become really clear this is kind of, like, my thing. And we've talked about it, and we'll probably maybe talk about it a little more, but, like, abnormal mapping was me telling Jackson, hey, let's stop being on people's terrible games podcasts and make our own. And I always thought of it as, like, a 2-person job, but as 3 people happen and Jackson's life happens, I think it's actually, like, we're all here, we're all in it. But this is clearly a thing. Oh, I unlocked Lazarus already? Cool. I don't actually remember how you unlock Lazarus, but I did it. this is clearly a thing that is dictated by me mostly as like editorial voice as much as it is, and that makes me feel really weird. But it also means that I feel okay like coming on here and talking about the podcast like really formally. We'll take the pact, sure. Tears up will be nice. We have so much health as it is. And because of that, because I feel okay about speaking for the podcast, like, please note that what I'm saying is only for me, and maybe Jackson and Destiny disagree, but all that is the preamble to say these opinions are my own, I guess, but there we are. But so we're in this space where I beat Paper Mario weeks ago because I was working, I'm talking about on Twitter, I'm working on like a zine of art for the game. And I'm nearly done with all of the pictures I feel like I need to include to feel okay about it. I have 4 left and 2 of them are half done. And then I'll get them scanned and put it in a PDF, and then you can all enjoy the PDF when the podcast comes out at the end of the month. But in that time, like, because I've been done with the game for weeks, I've been playing other games, and we don't really do a What You've Been Playing cast, and I'd like to do one, but in reality, like, Jackson's played some Metal Gear, but he also wrote basically a book about Metal Gear, and Destiny's been busy with her stuff and getting into, like, doing art journaling and stuff, so I'm kind of the only one who just went and played a bunch of games, and I don't really have anywhere to talk about them and how I feel about this as a thing, which is why this exists. Not necessarily as what I've been playing, but as how I feel about games because of all those games I've been playing, because there was a good time there. The podcasts early on in the year are a good source of... I actually haven't been playing anything other than our Game Club game, and these days I'm keeping up on small games people tweet about as I can, and I'm almost... Well, I'm 2/3 way through Etrian Odyssey Untold, the first one, and I'm playing N++, and I'm playing Galaxy a little bit. Like, stuff's getting done. I've been playing through lots of games. I beat Nier. Nier was really good. I beat Ori in the Blind Forest, and that was okay. Like, I'm doing the thing. I'm playing the video games like a real video game person. But I don't really have a forum to talk about them because I don't really want to write about video games ever. Ever. Just never. I hit the bomb button. It's a good thing I didn't have bombs. Do I want the soul heart? Or do I want... You know what? Let's get the soul heart and then let's plug the machine. And it's really interesting because I tried really hard to pull back from games Twitter because I find it almost entirely upsetting. But I don't really have a lot of like gaming friends outside of Jackson Destiny, and when we talk about games, it's usually in the context of work. And so it's really weird for me to like have a platform where I have a podcast ostensibly about video games, and yet I don't feel like when I want to talk about a video game I have a good forum for that. And that's really strange, but it's kind of the world that we're in which, or that I live in which, like, I'm not interested in writing reviews. When I stopped being a movie critic, I basically said to myself, hey, I don't ever really want to write a review again. And I've done really well on sticking to that. I don't really want to change that. So I'm left with, like, alternative options. Either I can write a piece of criticism, or I could just, like, jot down some notes, like people have done. Austin Walker, before he was on Giant Bomb, I feel like did a couple pieces that were just notes on a game. I hope that was him. It could have been someone else. I could, you know, write a like piece of actual criticism. Don't really want to do that. That's kind of Jackson's thing, or used to be. Maybe it will be again someday. Or I could spew my head space on Twitter, but Twitter's a terrible place to talk about anything at length, as everyone who uses Twitter knows. So I don't know, like, and then I ask myself, do I really even want to talk about video games with my time? And the answer is, like, I do, because I enjoy them, but increasingly I wonder why I should bother, like, publicly talking about video games. And part of that is the insecurities about the podcast, and that nobody listens. And I don't feel like writing is like a viable way to express oneself in 2015 because it's hot garbage. Like nobody, like even people read it, don't make it worthwhile. It's very time consuming and energy and like personal expense. My time is limited. I don't want to spend it writing things, trying to get an audience, because that seems like a great way to make yourself unhappy. It's just a bad way. Like I feel really bad about writing as a thing. And I don't like doing that. But at the same time, I feel like it behooves me to talk about stuff. In part because, like, I think many of the opinions I have are maybe, like, at least a little bit interesting. I don't know. And a lot of the games I play are games that I don't see people talking a lot about. Like, how many thoughtful deconstructions of Etrian Odyssey are there? I'd like to write one, maybe, but like I said, I don't like writing about video games or anything. I haven't written a thing in ages. What was the last thing I wrote for the site? I don't even know. And I don't intend to find out. So you don't even need to tell me. But it was a while ago. But I would, but instead I'd rather just talk about it, because not everything deserves a 1,000-word think piece. And I don't want to be the person who produces them anyway. Again, long preamble, just basically say, hey, I want a space to talk about video games. I don't know where to do that. But at the same time, like, it feels really greedy to, like, just spew my thoughts as, like, a thing people can have. Like, to presume that my thoughts on these things are valuable is weird, especially since why I think they're valuable is because I need them to be valuable to justify spending all my time playing them. Quad shot plus... okay, that's... I've never had this combination before, so this looks pretty cool. I just, like, the self-justification and the self-importance required to think these things, and the insecurities that I have that spur that, like, presumption, I think are really telling, in that I don't know how to just be okay doing a thing for the sake of doing it. But also I'm too busy / too lazy to turn it into actual work, so instead I just turn it into navel-gazing, which is what essentially this is. Me navel-gazing about the podcast and video games. But, I mean, there's some mediocre Isaac play on the bottom of it, and I haven't had, like, I don't really... Like, Jackson does a lot of really, confessional writing and potting, and... Not potting. Well, I guess if you listen to Goof Zone, I feel like that's pretty confessional. There's a reason I'm not on that podcast. Well, there's several reasons, but one of them is I don't think I could talk about things like that. And even his Let's Plays are very, like, personal experience, thoughtful reflections, as opposed to mine, which tend to be more focused on the game, less on my headspace, I feel like. It's just kind of my style of thinking and expressing. Yeah, let's go right first. Let's keep it going. Keep it going. There's nothing in this room that can be worth fighting these guys. Yep, that's right. There was nothing. So maybe this can be a more confessional space, but also maybe it's just about video games. And if you like that, then cool. Maybe I won't always do this about Isaac. Maybe I'll pick another game to do. I thought about maybe doing Minecraft initially, but some people expressed the desire to see me play Isaac, and I always intended to do an Isaac video at some point. I just didn't realize it would be in this format. Man, I really hope we can beat Mom, because if I can't beat Mom with this setup, it's on me. I am doing a lot of other stuff, but it's on me. Little Chubby's appeared. Cool. Good on you, little Chubby. I will definitely take those. Let's go down. Yeah, 2 floors left. Maybe. We'll see. So I just don't know. Like, this pressure to justify oneself and like make the things that you spend your time on worthwhile is a thing that basically abnormal mapping could just be about at this point. It's the thing that me and Jackson specifically pressure ourselves in all the time. You know, it's weird. I actually don't know if Destiny would self-identify as having these problems, which I feel like I should know that about my partner for 3+ years, but I don't. And that's weird. Maybe if she listens to this, she can respond and let me know. Why don't I know this about you? What is the failing in my life that we don't have that kind of conversation? And why can't I, like, identify this opinion, which I think is, like, an important opinion as a person? Anyway. Oh, god damn it. Fine. We'll lay another bomb. I better get bombs out of this. I did. Cool. I'm never gonna get to Mom at this rate. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Let's go in here. I don't need any of this. Ugh, fine. Great, the wall masters are here. No time for any of that. Like, F off, Mom. Oh, yeah. Is there no exits here? Nope, dead end. Okay. I don't know. That existential crisis kind of drives me and Jackson, but like I'll speak for myself here. It drives a lot of my like insecurities and fears. Like I work myself crazy on projects that don't matter because I need to find a justification for why I spend my time the way I do. And like I have to make it have value defined really poorly as like an expression of like thematic intent or like a philosophical stance, or I don't even know how I'd explain what makes things valuable versus not for me. But I do have that feeling where if I'm not outputting something, then why haven't I done it? And I like part of me playing the games, like all the games in this off time. I mean, we took the off time so we could like catch up on games. And part of it was to like re-engage with, hey, this is just the cool hobby that we have and we enjoy. I don't know what it says about where we're all at, that I'm the only person who actually did that. But then I also don't know what it says that I'm the one person who went and like had to justify my opinions about it by making this huge long diatribe that you're listening to now. All of it seems a little embarrassing, to be honest. And I'm not sure why any of it actually matters. Like, nobody watches these videos, nobody listens to the podcast, so I'm doing this for myself. Which maybe makes it the purest act of all, but then why do I have to lie about my, like, my reasons to myself? I don't actually know the answer to that. This is clearly not the thing that you thought you signed up for, I think, when you clicked on, oh, Matt put out a cool Binding of Isaac video, let's watch him be mediocre at Binding of Isaac. And not probably get to Mom because he can't stop taking damage because he's talking too damn much. And he never should have taken this revolving thing. You know how cool my shots would be if I had Spider Shot and not this spinny bullshit? It would be amazing. Let's stick with Empress. Empress would be better bet here, I think. I think Empress is the, would give me invincibility? You know what? Actually, don't remember. We'll save it for Mom, though. Monstro 2 could very well kill us. But, in theory, we can stay catty-cornered him, and that'll be fine, because you actually can't do much catty-corner. He shoots a death laser, the brimstone laser, but, yeah. If you're above or below him, can't really do much to you. Which is good. Because otherwise, kind of an asshole. Took a hit. A real chump. Oh, let's just do this. Wish that slowed him down more than it does. It sucks. Man, I feel like Mom's gonna be really hard like this. Oh, I'll need to go get a heart for sure. Are there hearts on the map? I think there are. Oh, there's heart right here. Speed up, size down. I'm not gonna take that pill. Last thing I need is like a health down. And I ended up not even talking about the games, I just talked about my mental state. So this is clearly the most self-indulgent video possible. Which, I'm gonna defend myself by saying I warned you that I was just gonna be really navel-gazy. So here we are, navel-gazy. There's not gonna be a store down here. Great. Guess we'll just blow that up. Maybe there'll be a beggar down here or something. So yeah, I just feel weird about it. Like, thinking about video games in 2015 is a weird thing. Like, I really understand why a lot of people talk about wanting to get off of this space. Like, you listen to Match 3 and Gita's like, don't worry, I'm actively trying to get out of games criticism, and like, Lana is an art critic more than she's a game critic at this point, and I think she's really happy with that. And I wish that I felt compelled to be a critic of anything at this point, because I don't know. I wish I still found value in that. And not saying that I think the work people do isn't valuable, but for me, like, I stopped liking the act of thinking about things that way, like, and then giving it to people as a almost like a performative thing. And so I stopped, but I kind of feel bad about it. I mean, I definitely feel bad about it. And I don't know how to fix it, or if it's like even a thing that should be fixed or matters to fix. We'll definitely take that. They have all these coins and nowhere to spend them. If we get some hearts, that'd be cool. Don't need the keys. Don't need the keys. Hearts. Hearts. Come on. And so it's weird. Like, the podcast is in like a good place, but not like a healthy place. In that I enjoy doing it. I like spending time with my friends. I feel weird that I think I might take it more seriously than them. Or Jackson takes it seriously, but in a different way. And Destiny likes the podcast and is good, like, enjoys being on, but the power dynamic's weird, because like, I am both the oldest and the one who's played the most games, and I don't want to be the authoritative voice on the show, but I guess that's kind of what happened. And it's strange and difficult sometimes, and I feel really anxious about it all the time. And like, I wanted to have a podcast where we just talked about the games we've been playing, but I'm the only one who played games, which is not like an indictment on them. Like, I don't feel like that's a thing I can be like, oh, you guys said you were gonna play games and you didn't. I feel bad, or I feel like upset about that. That's not what I mean. If they're listening, I feel like Jackson would apologize to me for not playing more games after listening to this. But it's weird. My advice: don't do things for the internet ever, is I guess where it boils down to. And find your own happiness that doesn't revolve around other people or like validation from external sources, because no good comes from this. It just makes you miserable forever. That's the moral of the story. Don't do things for the internet. And you'd think that I would know that. I wrote about movies for a while. Like, you want a good lesson in not doing things for the internet, try to be a movie critic. Look at where movie criticism is in 2015. That's a fucking shameful place, full of sadness and disappointment. Oh, we're at Mom. Cool. Let's do this. But all that said, I didn't even talk about the video games I wanted to talk about, and we're here at Mom. One way or another, this run's coming to an end. And I don't think I want to do, like, more runs. Oh, this was not invincibility, but it will make me strong. Oh yeah, I'll definitely kill Mom here.
Isaac was
Oh, we got an ending. Cool.
his mother, fueled with the desire to serve her God, was bearing down on Isaac. I will do as I'm told, my lord. I love you above all else, Isaac's mother repeated to herself. This was the end of the line for Isaac. His mother was far too strong for him. But just as he accepted his fate, God intervened, sending an angel down from above to
Is it supposed to end like that? It sounds like really broken. I don't remember. So I unlock some stuff. Cool. 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 Unlocked all sorts of things. Anyway. What was I talking about? So, I don't know. The actual moral of the story is that don't be me because my brain is stupid, I guess. I'd like to do more of these. I'd like to actually talk about video games that I've been playing. These won't be regular, and I don't know what to call them yet. But they'll go up, and maybe people will enjoy them. There's plenty more Isaac to play, for sure. Man, I don't even know. I'm sorry if you listen to all this and are wondering where's the insightful video game commentary. But being a person who likes video games and it tries to be thoughtful about them is hard sometimes. Because this is a garbage medium, and I don't know what I'm doing here. I guess that's the actual takeaway. So we have a thesis. This is a garbage medium, and I don't know what I'm doing here. Maybe next time we'll actually talk about a video game. Thanks so much for watching. Come back next time? Thanks everybody for listening, for replying if you reply, for caring, for listening to the podcast, for supporting Jackson, who's in a rough space, for humoring me, who should not be asking for the impositions I do, and for everything good you say to any of us about anything. Take care. Bye.